Hello, my friends. So the last couple of weeks I have been in recovery from shingles. Oh yeah, no fun. And the medicines mixing with some of the Parkinson's meds. Woo, I had some crazy dreams. I had to do a little switcheroo and, change some of the medicines that my primary had prescribed. But what was interesting about the experience was I was convinced, because I had never had chickenpox in my mind. My mom said, no, you've never had chickenpox. I never had the symptoms of it. But when I went to my primary, she identified it as shingles right away. I was like, but I've never had chickenpox. And she said, you probably had it and you were just asymptomatic. So that was interesting. I was convinced it was a spider bite, and it wasn't. So let me turn off my phone. Okay, so in today's video, I've talked about this in the past, and I actually think I'm going to do a poll. And I'd love to hear your comments as always. Let me know what your thoughts are, but I've touched on this subject before in other videos, like can a broken heart trigger Parkinson's disease? And so the reason I'm bringing this back up again is because I was reading something somewhere about Parkinson's or dopamine, and I came across this term called S, as in Sam, SPS. So it stands for sensory processing sensitivity. And I was like, and then there was a couple of things about it that kind of made me think of me, and then I, Googled it, and then that took me down a little rabbit hole, and I discovered that it's also related to what they call deep feelers. Another term that they use for it is HSP, highly sensitive people. Yeah, not a fan of that term at all. I feel like that sounds a little bit more neurotic, but deep feelers and sensory processing sensitivity, I'm okay with that. But I want to know how you guys feel, if you feel like the same. Now, what triggered, or what inspired my video and that article about can broken heart trigger Parkinson's disease, I have it on my blog, and then of course there is the video as well. But it was the story about these identical twins, but only one brother had developed Parkinson's. And so here, let me just read just a little bit from this. It says, to the twins, the pressure cooker way Jack dealt with stress, most grievously the loss of Gabe, who is his son. Such a heartbreaking story, but okay, helps explain Jack's added health burden today. The Parkinson's, the glaucoma, the prostate cancer. Jeff said those might be physical symptoms of the different ways they handle stress. Jack internalizes more than I do, he said. And I'm not saying that anything is for sure, but I just can't help but wonder, because I feel that the stress from opening my pub, in combination with just like a series of failed relationships with some really bad heartbreak, and just that it was like this kind of pressure cooker is a good term, because why would mine trigger at 38 when my mom's triggered when she was 70? And one of the big differences between us is I definitely think that it's not that she's not a deep feeler. I would call myself a deep feeler. And I'll read you some of the, and I will include links in the description down below, as I always do. But this just resonates with me, and the processing things differently, because I think we all know people who just seem to be able to brush things aside pretty easily. And for some things, I am able just to brush them aside, but when it comes to relationships, friendships, trusting and believing in somebody and just being wrong, it hurts. It's like a dagger. And then the stress of bringing my pub to life. I mean, I wanted perfection, and I know that wasn't realistic, but the way that I described that process, it was like having to jump off of a cliff every single day. I had to make these decisions that I just had no idea, what the outcome was going to be. I had to have just this incredible faith in myself, which I did, and I did succeed, but I think that there was a cost to it, and I wonder if it's Parkinson's, and if it's because I am a deep feeler, like Jack might be, or it's being hinted at. Jack's added, yeah, it was Jack. Jeff is the brother. So this article begins on deep feelers. If you're a deep feeler, you probably experience more intense feelings than most people. And what I also like about this, or find interesting about this article, is that they they describe it as an ability, which I like. It's not, there's pros and cons to it, but it's an ability. And apparently it affects about 15 to 20% of the population in general. I'm really curious how many people in the Parkinson's community would consider themselves a deep feeler. Now, when you look at this, like, I don't know how many of these you would need to like check off in order to qualify as a deep feeler, but so like they bring up the SPS thing again. So they say it's a nervous system difference that causes increases in processing depth, emotional and empathetic reactivity, sensitivity to subtleties, and overstimulation. Now, the sensitive to subtleties, I am such a, yes, I mean, like that just resonated with me big time. Processing depth, yes, I tend to overthink, but I'm working on it. But anyways, sensitivity to subtleties, yes, that's totally me. And then, they mentioned being an empath, but I guess that's even rarer than deep feelers. And then, so, it's got what are some of the, let's see, benefits of being a deep feeler. Vivid imagination, rich inner life, deep appreciation for enjoyable sensory input like music. Yes, I love music. Anyone who knows me will know that music is my religion. So I just, deep appreciation for music, yes. Awareness of surroundings, creativity, innovation, empathy and compassion, ability to forge connections, attention to detail, conscientiousness. Some of the downsides, noise sensitivity. I am super, super noise sensitive. They also mention sensitive to smells. I am super sensitive to smells as well, or scents. Let's see, overthinking and hyperanalysis, yes for me. Challenges and boundary setting, yes. Aversion to crowds and busy environments, it just depends. But yeah, check out these articles that I'm including in the description, because I'm just curious, does this resonate with anybody else? Do you feel like you process things deeper than other people that you know? And yeah, check out the deep feelers and sensory processing sensitivity. That's the SPS is where I came across something in relation to Parkinson's, and now I can't remember because I just do so much reading. But anyways, I've been missing you guys. I'd love to hear your comments and take the poll. I think I'm actually going to try to do an actual poll and just see how it goes, because I am really curious what percentage of people with Parkinson's disease would consider themselves a deep feeler or somebody with SPS, sensory processing sensitivity. Thank you.